Hello, I am Sagun Samrat Sangrola and welcome to OWLS IELTS, a fresh channel for updated IELTS course. In this class, we will focus on some mistakes committed by the students while writing the answers of line graph. And in other classes, I will continue with bar graphs, table, diagram, pie chart mistakes, and also sentence structure mistakes. So let's get started. So here we have our line graph. It's about the number of tourists in Pokhara. X-axis consists of dates and the y-axis has the number. So while describing this line graph, must students write in this way? The problem is this sort of answer will not even achieve band 5.5. You may get 4.5 if you're lucky. So the question is why? And these are the reasons. The student has used common precision markers. This class is all about using precision markers, using advanced precision markers. So I will describe everything about this, so you don't need to worry about that. These are the mistakes, and there are also other mistakes that I'll talk in other classes. But in this class particularly, I want to talk about precision markers. But before going to the precision marker, I want to tell you why I'm making this video, because my aim is to make you write in this way. So you can pause the video and read this answer. In this answer, in my version of the answer, you find lots of advanced verbs, complex sentences, you find different sentence structures. So I will talk about everything in other classes. Make sure you subscribe and bell the channel to get the notification of other classes. Now my concern is you guys are using the word nearly quite frequently. I find most of the students using this word nearly. I don't know why they are so fond of this word. There are other awesome formal words that you can use. So let's understand rule number 1, and that is using advanced precision markers. So what's precision marker? Precision markers are the words that illustrate how precise the data are. Now you need to be very careful when you listen this, because I want you to understand the entire concept. Okay, so precision markers are the words that illustrate how precise the data are. Let's look at the line graph now. In case of 2000, the number is exactly 60. So when you write exactly 60 or precisely 60, the word exactly or precisely is a precision marker. When data are exactly given, then you can simply write the number of tourists constituted 60 in 2000. Or you can write constituted exactly 60 or precisely 60 in 2000. But there's no need to write exactly or precisely, because this is already an exact data. But there's another but. When it's not exact, now listen this, when the data is not exact, you must tell the examiner that the data are not exact. So how do you do that? By using these words on the left hand side. There is no problem with these words, except everybody is using it. Almost 95% of the students use these words. So that's the problem. There is no any uniqueness in that. That's why you also need to use these right side precision markers. Now let's look at the number in 1980. It has not reached 20. So if you write the number was 20, then it will obviously be a mistake, right? The number is nearly 20. So while explaining this, while writing about this data, this datum, don't write nearly 20, write just under 20 in 1980. So we are replacing the word nearly with just under. This is just under the line. That's why we are writing the data or the datum or the number is just under 20 in 1980. Now, this is something new, something unique. Let's come to 1985. I'll give some more examples. This is also a case of just under, or you can also write just below. Okay, do not repeat. If you have written just under already, then you can write just below when you use the same word next time. So try to be a bit smart when you use the words, because these words are quite sensitive. For example, the number was just below 10 in 1985, but in the case of 1990, here, the number is quite below 50, right? That is not just under 50, that's quite below 50. So you need to write the number of tourists in Pokhara in 1990 was well below 50 or well above 40. So if you're writing below, then just look at this graph very carefully. It's below 50, but it's above 40. Okay, understand this. Now what we need to be careful about is in 1990 the number has increased. So the sentence can look like this. Let's take an example. The number increased rapidly to well over 40 in 1990, which however experienced a slight decline, reaching just above 30 in 1995. Here I have also used different sentence structures and complex forms which will be explained in other YouTube classes. Okay, for now just understand how I have used this well over 40. I said well over 40, I didn't say just below well below 50, because the number has increased from 1985. So I'm explaining something that has increased. That's why I preferred using the word well over rather than just below. So that's the case here. Now let's focus on the second mistake, overusing words. I told you not to use nearly because everybody is using it, and then I asked you to use the right side precision markers. But if you only use the right side words, that is again called overusing the words. I just did it. I just overused the words. Well, I'm quite lucky that you didn't notice it. Read this again. I repeated the same style of explaining the data, and I did it in one sentence, so that's wrong. I'll make you understand this with this example. Read this example. The number increased rapidly to roughly 40 in 1990, which, however, experienced a slight decline, reaching just above 30 in 1995. So what you need to do is you need to make a good combination of right and left side words, but please don't use nearly, about, approximately. These are cliches, that means overused words. More than 90% students use these words, so these are frequently used. So the rule number 2 is to not overuse any words. I hope you understood the difference between this sentence and this sentence. In this first sentence we used well over, and immediately after that we used just above, so we used the same style immediately. But in the second case we used the left hand side precision markers, and after that we used the right hand side precision markers, so we did not repeat the same style of writing. Now, so rule number 2 is do not overuse any words. You can repeat sometimes, yes you can, but do not immediately repeat it. Okay, now the last mistake is misusing the markers. I don't know, I honestly I don't know why students sometimes use nearly even in exact data. For example, the number of tourists in 2000, see here we had 2000, the number of tourists in 2000 reached nearly 60. This is wrong. The student is using the precision marker, but incorrectly, because this is not nearly 60, that's exactly 60, that's precisely 60. Let's take another example. 1980. If you write the number was nearly 10, then it is a mistake again, because it's already quite above 10. It's not nearly 10, it's quite above 10, right? If you want to use nearly, okay, let's say that you want to use that word nearly, then you need to write nearly 16 or 17. Just make an estimation. Let's take another example, 1990. Let's say if you want to use the left hand side, almost, roughly, around. So what you can do is you can say the number increased and reached almost 45. So you are just making an estimation here, almost 45. But if you are using the right hand side precision markers, what do you do here? The number increased and reached well above 40 in 1990. So you need to use these markers correctly. Okay, these are quite sensitive, and writing tasks are quite formal and quite sensitive, so you need to be very careful. If you have any confusions, let me know in the comment section. I will make you understand. I will reply every comment. Now I will tell you why you should not commit these mistakes and follow the rules that I have talked about. Let's go to the band descriptor. So this is the band descriptor for writing task 1. You are given marks based on this descriptor. If you do not have any idea about band descriptor, then let me know in the comment section. I will make a separate video on it. For now, I want you to understand these are the band scores here, vertical. Band score 9, 8, 7, 6, and it goes down. Now focus on this lexical resource part, that means vocabulary. Let me zoom it. If you want to achieve band 7 and above in vocabulary section, then you need to follow what's written here. For example, for band 7, you must use a sufficient range of vocabulary. That's why I gave you different right hand precision markers. Yes, you can see it here. Sufficient range of vocabulary, right? That's why I gave you different right hand side precision markers. I'm asking you to use these markers. It also says you should use less common lexical resource. That's why I ask you to avoid the word nearly and use the words on the right side, because everybody is using the word nearly, approximately. Okay, so there are these right hand sides words are quite less common, uncommon, let's say. Let's look at band 8 requirements. For band 8, you should fulfill the requirements of band 7. Yes, you need to do that, and plus what you need to do is, it says here that you should convey precise meanings. If you want to get band 8 in vocabulary section, then you need to convey precise meanings. That's why you need to use precision markers. Okay, it also says vocabs should be used flexibly. Here it says fluently and flexibly. Now to use it flexibly, I will teach you different sentence structures in another class where you will learn to use the words flexibly. Let's do this much for this class. This is a new YouTube channel. Give me a feedback about the class and feel free to comment if you have any queries. Do not forget to subscribe and bell the channel. Do not miss other classes. Thank you so much. You are awesome.